Memory. It's the key to our identity.
Without memory, we're nothing.
It's who we are.
Memory hackers. Right now.
In a reply dated August 3, 1897, the Holy Office provided instructions as to how Catholic hospitals should dispose of the amputated limbs of their patients. Please note that just as the post-conciliar Church renamed all of the sacraments after the Second Vatican Council, it also renamed the Holy Office as the Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith. So, in 1897, the Holy Office said, "With regard to the amputated members of non-Catholics, sisters may safely continue their present practice. They should try to have the amputated members of Catholics buried in blessed ground. But if serious difficulties stand in the way of such burial, the sisters need not be disturbed about their present practice." The Holy Office continues, "As for burning the members, if the physicians demand this, the sisters may keep a tactful silence and carry out their orders. Moreover, it is the mind of the sacred congregation that, if it can be done, a small part of the hospital garden should be blessed and set aside for the burial of the amputated members of Catholics." So this directive uses the word should and not shall, so this is a recommendation and not a requirement. But the Holy Office is telling us that burial is the most desirable method of dealing with an amputated limb. The Holy Office was mindful that sometimes a limb, depending upon its condition, could possibly cause the spread of disease or other problems, and then it might require incineration. But since burying an amputated limb is the most desirable method of dealing with the limb, presumably before the Second Vatican Council, these types of burials were routinely done discreetly at Catholic hospitals for little or no cost. However, Catholic hospitals no longer bury amputated limbs on consecrated ground. And part of this might be because the Code of Canon Law of 1983 changes Catholic teaching. And it's changing Catholic teaching that goes back to the time of the early Church Fathers. And the Code of Canon Law allows for cremation where before it was prohibited. And please check out my video on that topic, which is linked down below. The change is also due to the Medical Waste Tracking Act of 1988, which is a United States federal law regarding the disposal of medical waste. The law provides for heavy penalties for noncompliance, and pursuant to the law, the U.S. EPA passed regulations prohibiting hospitals from burying amputated limbs in their natural state, meaning limbs that have not been treated. Limbs are required to be rendered unrecognizable and free of biological threats. And so nowadays, the typical method of dealing with amputated limbs is incineration. And after that, the remains of a person ultimately end up in a sewer system or in a landfill. Under current U.S. law, an individual may arrange for the burial of a severed limb through arrangements with a funeral home. But in that case, a person is required to pay for a grave site, an infant casket for the severed limb, and for other exorbitant costs. Where once the hospital would have buried a severed limb of a patient for little or no cost, now a Catholic must pay an arm and a leg, and I'm sorry for that pun. This is just more evidence of something we already knew, and that's the United States is not a Catholic country. So we could start up a petition on change.org or another site, and the petition could be to amend the Medical Waste Tracking Act of 1988 to allow Catholic hospitals to bury severed limbs in consecrated ground. So, what do you think? But if Catholic hospitals could do this nowadays, would they even bother? Please feel free to post your comments down below. Well, I hope you enjoyed this installment. We'll be back again soon with another one. But in the meantime, please check out my Facebook page, which is also linked down below, and every day I post additional content that you won't find on this YouTube channel. And please, pray for the Church.
Give me your right hand. And the blue brown mama child told me all upside down.